Welcome to Open BXRx on BronxNet. I'm your host, Sonyi Lopez, inviting you to get social with us at BronxNet TV on Instagram and Twitter, and BronxNet Community Television on Facebook. As we continue to social distance, reading groups have moved to Zoom, Twitter, and Instagram to bring readers together. One Book, One Bronx by the Literary Freedom Project is a book club building community even through the pandemic. Joining us now to discuss is Ron Kavanaugh, Executive Director of the Literary Freedom Project. Ron, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a great day.
Of course. And first, to start off, for anyone who's not familiar, please tell us more about the Literary Freedom Project and your mission.
Sure. Literary Freedom Project is a Bronx-based literary nonprofit. We started in about 2002 with the goal of using literature to build community. So our goal is to really bring people into our different spaces and programs and intertwine literature with community engagement, social justice, women empowerment. There are multiple subjects that we kind of focus on, but all using literature as a base.
And what is the One Book, One Bronx Club, and how does it work, and who can participate in it?
One Book, One Bronx is a book club based, well, now that everything's on Zoom, we're not really based in the Bronx, but started here in the Bronx, again, with the idea of bringing our community together. I used to meet people individually, and they all used to kind of tell me about the books that they're reading, or the books they wanted to read, or not being able to read because they were so isolated. And I thought a book club would be a good idea to try to break that isolation, but also to build a new community around books and reading.
And Ron, the book club is for those who are interested, anyone really. You have a bunch of books behind you, but they're also for people who want to get into reading books as well, for anyone.
Yeah, the great thing about this book club is you can actually come even if you have not read the book. What we're really interested in are conversations around the book. So if we are reading, our next book is Bodega Dreams by Ernesto Quinones. And we're really interested in people who have those kind of like experiences, kind of growing up in urban environments, dealing with gentrification. The book is really about gentrification, dealing about gentrification, community overdevelopment or misdevelopment. So anyone can come in and have that conversation. We encourage you to read the book, of course, and we meet weekly. So we make it really easy for people to kind of set us into their schedule. But yeah, that's our book club, is really more than just a book club.
And how has COVID-19 impacted the usual programming that you hold in community? How has this year's first book club gone? And what challenges, if any, did the program face?
Yeah, so, at the beginning of the year, back in January, when we were still in a physical space, we usually meet we actually meet in two locations, Bronx Art Space and Casita Maria Center for Arts and Education. And everything was going fine. We were getting anywhere from 20 to 30 people every week to come out. In like March, April, we moved on to Zoom. And we've seen audiences as large as 80 people attend our book club. And those people are coming now because of Zoom. They come from all over the country. So when we meet in person, most people, although people come from Brooklyn and Westchester, when we meet in person, now people are joining us from California, the Carolinas, Florida, Ohio. I think Texas, we have somebody in Texas also. So that's the one difference. The interactions are the same, the commitment is the same. What has changed is how wide our audience has gotten because of Zoom and accessing on social media.
That is amazing. I'm really glad to hear that it's opening up to many.
It's been kind of, it's funny because when the quarantine first happened, I actually was thinking of stopping the book club because I didn't know how long this would last, how to navigate Zoom, whether I wanted to commit more energy to that. But it was actually book club members who wanted to continue. And once they wanted to continue, it just felt like it was really necessary for our community to stay connected through books and discussions.
That is a beautiful thing. Now, Ron, is there an overarching theme for this season's reading list curation? What are some of the books that folks can expect to read? You mentioned Bodega Dreams by Ernesto Quiñones. What are some of the other books and why were they selected?
So every year we try to mix up our selection of books. What we use as our foundation are the demographics of the Bronx.
Right.
So we focus on books by Latin and writers of African descent. We also focus on fiction, nonfiction, poetry, as long as they're writers of African descent or Latin descent. So sort of keeping that in mind, we're reading Bodega Dreams. After that, we're reading Jim Crow, The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. Then after that, we're reading a biography by Saeed Jones. So we try to really mix it up. Later on in the year, we'll be reading poetry by a Trinidadian writer. There's a young woman who was on, she's from the Bronx. She was on Orange is the New Black.
Yeah.
I cannot remember her name. She was one of the stars, and she's from the Bronx. Sylvan is her last name.
Oof, I forgot her name too.
Yeah, but anyway, she has a biography out also, and we're going to be reading that. So it's called My Sister. Her sister is a trans woman, and she's written about growing up with her sister. So as soon as that name comes to me, I'll shoot it back to you.
You'll loop back over. Yeah. I'm sorry, I can't help. I can't like help you with the with the rebound there. So one of the one book, one Bronx taglines is books build community. How do book clubs help us engage in discussions on community building even through this pandemic?
You know, that's almost all we do. Like the book club is kind of a ruse for just getting people together and building discussions around our community, around the issues that affect our community. We try to use the book as a platform to build greater conversations. So when you come to our book club, it is not a traditional book club in the sense that you just talk about the book. Mm-hmm. We don't really care if you talk about the book or not. I mean, we start from the book. But many people want to go off in tangents because the subject matter of the book is the most important thing. It's not so much that you sort of stay restricted and bound to discussing the book, but that you participate in the subject matter of the book. That's the most important thing.
Got it. And now the Literary Freedom Project also develops amazing lesson plans and workshops for educators through Mosaic Magazine. Please tell us more about these educational resources and the most recent Black Lives Matter lesson plan. Where can teachers access these plans? So
one, you can find it on our website. If you just go to literaryfreedom.org, follow the links, you can find the lesson plans. Again, they were created to give educators a way to connect to their students. So often, you know, there are issues like Black Lives Matter, the killing of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. That will be our next lesson plan. We're doing one on Breonna Taylor's life. Teachers and parents, who are the first teachers, they were really looking for resources on how they can connect what they're doing in the classroom to their students. And we just thought it would be ideal if we started to create lesson plans for these educators. And again, it's the same connection, it's the same identity of building a platform for the community to kind of build on their own knowledge. So on the one hand, like One Book, One Bronx, it speaks directly to people, to parents or to participants, whereas our lesson plans speak directly to teachers. And we hope that those teachers will bring the lesson plans in the classroom and impart that information onto the students and parents. So.
Sounds amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that, Ron. So my co-producer shared that the author's name is Selenis Leiva from Orange is the New Black. So there we go.
Thank you.
When is the next book club taking place? When is the next virtual book club taking place? And do people still have time to sign up for it?
You can sign up right now, onebookonebronx.com. It starts September 16th. And when it starts, you should purchase the book now and be ready to read, I think, pages 1 through 47 that first week. So it's Bodega Dreams by Ernesto Quinones. We're going to try to invite Ernesto to participate in the book club. We've been having really good luck that way. We're having more and more authors participate with the book club, which kind of adds a different dimension to the book club, because so often we're actually kind of guessing what the author had in mind, and to have the author there and explain is really a great dynamic.
And it's taking place at 7 p.m., correct? So if you're getting out of work, if you work virtually, then you still have time to, sit with your book and join the virtual book club.
And also, you don't have to be there exactly at 7 p.m. So don't think like if you don't get in at 7, you won't be allowed in. You can come in anytime you want to into the book club, even if it's for the last 15 minutes.
Sounds amazing. Thank you, Ron. Before we go, how can people support the Literary Freedom Project and One Book, One Bronx?
You can join our programs. That's the best thing to do. Of course, you can give a donation. We're a nonprofit, 501c3. Just go to literaryfreedom.org. But really the best thing to do is participate.
Thank you again, Ron, for your time today.
Thank you so much.
Folks, again, for more information, you can visit onebookonebronx.com or literaryfreedom.org. You can also follow @Literary Freedom Project on social media. We'll be right back.